Viewers are warned that the following programme contains flashing images.
Welcome to London's Leicester Square for what promises to be one of the biggest movie nights of 2012. It has been 9 long years since The Lord of the Rings, the one trilogy to rule them all, last graced our cinema screens. But now it's time to return to Middle-earth to find out how it all began. Join me as we go on an unexpected journey in The Hobbit. Unless you've been hiding in a hobbit hole for the last couple of years, you'll know all about Peter Jackson's return to Middle-earth. But you won't have to travel over misty mountains and dungeons deep to get an inside look at the making of The Hobbit. Because tonight, we are bringing you all the action as we sit down with Martin Freeman, Peter Jackson and a whole company of dwarves to bring you the full story. Back in the early 1930s, a teacher by the name of John Ronald Reuel Tolkien was marking his pupils' work when he was inspired to open a book at a blank page and write the sentence, "In a hole in the ground, there lived a hobbit." Now, 80 years later and 100 million copies sold, that little hobbit has made his way out of his hole in the ground and onto the big screen.
My dear Frodo, you asked me once if I had told you everything there was to know about my adventures. While I can honestly say I have told you the truth, I may not have told you all of it.
This is the story of a hobbit who is charged with an adventure that he doesn't necessarily want to take but goes on.
I'm looking for someone to share in an adventure.
He's a very home-loving fella. And he has all the comforts of home. He has a good life, you know. He has a really good life before the adventure.
I can't just go running off into the blue. I am a Baggins. Wait. Of Bag End.
One of the things that happens in The Lord of the Rings is you are trying to, basically your main character is trying to save the world. So, you know, it's pretty easy to immediately start caring about Frodo Baggins. Bilbo, a little bit different. He kind of runs out the door. He doesn't really know why he's doing it. It's often a mad adventure to, you know, treasure hunt.
Part of him just can't resist going forward and taking this opportunity, and it leads him onto this incredible epic tale, and he meets these extraordinary characters which change him for life.
Bilbo, allow me to introduce Fili, Kili, Owen, Loin, Darlin, Balin, Biffa, Bofa, Bomba, Dori, Ori, and the leader of our company, Thorin Oakenshield.
They've accumulated so much gold over the years that it attracts a dragon, Smaug, who basically decimates Erebor and the surrounding area, and they are forced into exile.
To dungeons deep and caverns old.
It's sort of there in their kind of heart that they need to go back and kind of right that wrong, and that's really the quest, and there are a very small group of dwarves that are going to take on that huge challenge.
We will seize this chance to take back Erebor!
They're fierce fighters. They like to enjoy themselves as well, but I think they feel that the world has been unfair to them.
Yeah, so it's a slightly dysfunctional family, sort of dirty baker's dozen group, but they're very close.
I will take each and every one of these dwarves over the mightiest army. Loyalty, honor, a willing heart. I can ask no more than that.
So that is the movie. Impressive, right? But films like this don't just get magicked up in a puff of smoke. That would be crazy. It's not like we're in Middle-earth or something.
When I was doing the publicity for Lord of the Rings, everybody asked me about The Hobbit. Everyone said, when are you going to do The Hobbit? And at that stage, it wasn't even possible.
Far to the east, over ranges and rivers, lies a single solitary peak. The dwarves are determined to reclaim their homeland.
There is a lot. There's goblins and there's dragons in the book, you know, which I think would have been much harder to do even 10 years ago. But now with all this new technology, you can make this incredible world that's so encompassing.
Why the halfling?
Why Bilbo Baggins? Perhaps it is because I'm afraid.
I'd very much closed the chapter and
And so to reopen it again, it brought back so many memories.
We were lucky enough to start in Bag End, and the set was so astonishing, the details so fine and so exquisite, the reality of this fantastical world so overwhelming that it was just a total joy.
Think furnace with wings.
Yeah, I need air.
Flash of light, searing pain, then poof, you're nothing more than a pile of ash.
We did a lot of training. We were afforded the luxury of having weeks before we started shooting, and that was very important because then when we got to start filming, we had to hit the ground running. So there was a lot of physical training because, you know, when you're in all the prosthetic and the costume, at times you're carrying over 30 kg. So we had to be fit, we had to be a unit. We had to undergo a quite difficult and challenging prosthetic process every morning. But ultimately, of course, that helps the character.
Was that a wolf? Are there wolves out there? Wolves? No, that is not a wolf.
We just had a little prosthetic.
Yeah, a little nose, and I had a fake moustache. And
They had stage 1, I think I had stage 2, and the others were like stage 8.
They were
Yeah,
chronic.
it's true. We really couldn't, you know, like we couldn't be an actor and complain, eh? We just had to kind of suck it up.
We made it with a temper, so maybe a stab at it.
We'd start to complain about, oh, I'm so hot. We'd sit around and people are lying on the ground passed out.
Nope.
During the filming, it became very odd if you saw the other dwarves out of card. You kind of thought, who's that?
Yes.
You recognised each
it's
other.
It's absolutely
as
true. You did. You started to. It was very strange because we saw more of each other in costume and makeup than we saw out. The first day, when all of us were assembled on Bag End and Ian appeared in the Gandalf makeup, it was a bit of an out-of-body experience.
Yeah.
It was strange. It was like I was there, but I wasn't there. I was observing it at the same time.
If this is some lothead's idea of a joke, I can only say it is in very poor taste.
On the trilogy, when we did Lord of the Rings, you could do forced perspective tricks. You know, this person's closer to the camera than that person, and you make it look like somebody's bigger and somebody's not. But when you're shooting stereo and the cameras are on cranes moving around, we actually have to shoot on 2 separate stages simultaneously. So a green screen stage with Sir Ian and a camera moving on the Bag End set with the dwarves, and everyone had to act and know their parts and kind of lock it all in really in the back of their minds.
But that was hugely choreographed, like, you know, it was like a balletic in a sense, you know. So, and also Ian has got, trust me, he's a talented enough actor to make you feel that he's with you when he's not with you.
So, this is the Hobbit.
It's snug. Now, over a decade ago, the biggest challenge faced by the magicians behind the original Lord of the Rings trilogy was bringing all the crazy fantasy stuff in J.R.R. Tolkien's books to the big screen. Now, with The Hobbit, the same issue is there, but so is the filmmaker's dedication to getting it right.
What is it, Precious? What is it?
My name is Bilbo Baggins.
Andy's performance, as soon as he walked on the stage, Gollum was back and we were back in Middle-earth.
Bagginses. What is Bagginses, Precious?
I see this very strange creature towing away a goblin to mash him up and eat him, and he's this scary being that I want to escape from.
Keep your distance. I'll use this if I have to.
In order to escape, we have to tell each other riddles. The deal is, if I win, I can go, and if he wins, he eats me.
Why don't we have a game of riddles?
And if it loses, what then? Well, if it loses, Precious, then we eats it. If Baggins loses, we eats it whole.
Fair enough.
We didn't want to change him so much that you didn't recognize him, but yet everything about him is actually new. You know, the detail that's gone into his eyes now and his skin and his muscles, and capturing the nuance of the performance.
Oh, we knows. We know safe paths for hobbitses. Safe paths in the dark. Shut up.
I didn't say anything.
I wasn't talking to you.
It's a brilliant scene in the book. It's a brilliantly written scene for the film, and I hope we do it justice. It was a lot of fun to do.
The other scene that just was enormously complex was the scene inside the Goblin Caverns, because you enter this world and it's sort of like an inverted city, where normally you go into the city and it's busiest in the middle and it falls off towards the edges. Here you're inside this cavernous space and the city's all around you. And we did that because that really allowed us to play with 3D. We could really move the camera through space and come up with some interesting angles.
Cut the ropes!
It's really nice to see it all come together, to see the last piece of the puzzle fall into place, and just be able to sit back and look at the film, and I'll just enjoy it.
You'll have a tale or two to tell when you come back.
Can you promise that I will come back?
No. And if you do, you will not be the same.
As you can see, I'm taking a break, but so are you. However, you need to be back here in a moment, because this green carpet will very soon be wall to wall with the stars of the film, and we'll be speaking to Peter Jackson himself about the challenges he faced in bringing such a beloved fable to the big screen. I'll see you in a second.